Bright Cutie. Every student matters.
Everyone, today we are going to start chapter 17, Social Justice and the Marginalized. This is marginalized means that people who they are at the margin, on the margin of the society, and what type of the social justice is required for their upliftment. How to uplift their condition in the society, what are the special provisions given by the government, or it has been already written in the constitution, and according to that, what are the things included for their upliftment as per the constitutional guidelines, and in recent years the efforts which is made by the government for their development, for their welfare, as well as how to uplift their condition. Such things we are coming to discuss in this chapter. So first of all, we must have to understand the meaning of marginalized and what does this group means, who they are the part of this group. So first of all, we are coming to discuss about that, the meaning of the marginalized or the marginalization. What does actually this word mean? So the marginalization means the social process of discriminating and isolating an individual or a group to lower or outer age and treating them as inferiors. In simple terms, we can say that it's a social process to discriminate a particular section of the people or a particular group of the people, and those particular group of people, they are treated as inferiors, then it is known as marginalized. The marginalized groups include scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and the other backward classes. Our constitutions categorize, marginalized has been categorized into three different groups. One is as scheduled caste, next is scheduled tribes, and the third category, which is also included in the constitution as the other backward classes, OBC. Scheduled caste is also in the short form, we are calling it STs. This scheduled tribes, the short form is STs, and for other backward classes, OBCs. So these are the three categories. These marginalized groups has been divided. In India, now coming in the context of our country only, the practice of caste system, long back in the history, this caste system has been practiced in our country. And what is the result of this practice? Creation of a whole section of people who are excluded from society. Means that a whole group of the people, a whole section of the people, they are excluded from the mainstream of the society. Then it is known as marginalized, or they are known as the outer caste. Means they are not inside, they are not included in the mainstream of the society, they are excluded. So they were forced by the higher classes to stay away from them. Then it is known as marginalized. The group of people who they are excluded from society are known as marginalized. In a simple way also, we can define this term like who they are the marginalized, and can be explained like this. The most important, it comes about the untouchability. This is a term used in the ancient past, in the history of the caste system. So this we are coming to discuss the caste system as its origin in the early Vedic times, Vedic period. We have 4 Vedas. Rig Veda is the oldest one. We have four Vedas. Rig Veda is the oldest one, followed by Samved, Yajurved, and Atharvaved. What it is? Rig Veda, then Samved, Yajurved, and the last one is Atharva Veda. These are the four Vedas. So this only is been written over here in the Vedic times when it was known as the Varna system. In Vedas, how it is mentioned with what name? It is known as Varna system. In those days, society was divided into four castes on the basis of the profession, means occupation, the work done by the community or the group of people. Then it is known as the Varna system and divided on the basis of the profession. Some people who used to do menial jobs, they were kept away because the nature of the job they do like sweepers. So I think so it is clear to you people. This means that what type of the work comes under the menial jobs? Sweepers, drainage cleaners, leather workers, the tanning work. After the means the removal of the skin of the animals, dead animals, and converting it into the leathers. So the leather workers, these people were considered impure and untouchable. So this is on the basis of the profession or occupation, this Varna system has been mentioned in the Vedas. And according to that, our society was divided. The caste system was followed in our country. This is about the untouchability. Members of the other caste. Now, what is this? This is the practice of untouchability to treat them as the inferiors. Even their sight, not only that to treat them, to exclude them from the mainstream of the society, but even their sight, if the people, the higher three class people, they don't want to look upon them also. To view them, to see them was also not liked by the people. They were also called achut. It's a Sanskrit term also can say. In Hindi also we are calling them achut, means not to touch them. Untouchability or chut. Then in a common parlance we are just calling it them achut. So there were various social reformers who they strongly oppose this untouchability. Members of other castes treated them as low caste, did not touch them for fear of becoming impure themselves. What is the reason behind it? Why this is known as the achut, means by touching them, they are becoming impure. Many social reformers, including Gandhiji, they all strongly opposed this system of untouchability. Gandhiji alone, what he did, he made all attempts to keep them united with the Hindus. And with this view only, with this motive only, Gandhiji has started giving them an honorable name. Not this achut or untouchables, he has started calling them Harijans. Means that the children of God. Children of God means what? How we are born in the higher class people or in the lower class people. A newly born child, he or she doesn't know about that. This is the society, this is the family. They decide about all these things. So the human birth is considered as an accident. So with this respect only, with this view only, Gandhiji has started calling them Harijans. But our constitution has given some special benefits to this group. This is like this. What are this? What their constitution has given some special benefit to this group of people. The constitution has abolished the practice of untouchability. The constitution has completely abolished this system. No one can practice this untouchability. If suppose they are trying to do so, or they are trying to practice it, or to discriminate to any of the section of the people or any of the individual on the basis of that achut or untouchability, then it will be a punishable offense. They must be punished by the court of law. The people who are deemed as untouchable, seems to be as untouchable, now use the self-respecting term Dalits to describe themselves. The people who they belong from this group, untouchable groups, they have started describing themselves as Dalits. The Dalits do not get admission into good schools, and they are forced to live and work in unhealthy environment, often abused by public. This is a common practice of our country. They are been abused. They have been denied to get admission in the good schools. They have been denied to get admission in the good schools. They have not been treated with that with the good treatment. So the Dalits do not get admission into good schools. They are forced to live and work in unhealthy environment. Not only that they are denied to get the good education, but they are also forced to live in the unhealthy environment. And many a times, very often, they are getting abused also by the public. Public means the so-called higher class people. This is a violation on the rights of individuals. Now, we have all the citizens of the country, whether they belong from the higher or the lower class. As an Indian citizen, if suppose Indian citizen is there, they have the fundamental rights. All 6 rights, which is all the facilities availed by the entire section. Inclusion of these untouchables, Sudras or the lower caste people, they are also supposed to avail all these the facilities which is mentioned in the constitution. No one can deny. If anyone try to practice it or to violate, then it is a punishable offense. They may get punishment by the court of law. Then it is coming about that constitutional reforms. The reforms which has been introduced by the constitution for the welfare of this group of people, for this section of people. The caste of Dalit, this is Dalits, Adivasis and other castes which are listed as scheduled in the Constitution of India are known as scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other backward classes respectively. So this is the caste of Dalits, whatever it is, Adivasis. Again, it's a Hindi terminology and can say that the Sanskrit word Adivasi means that the primitive, who they live in the nature. They do not like any of the development, interference in their natural habitat. So these Adivasi and other castes which are listed means that in our constitution, when we have explained this, you have a chapter on the constitution, their entire detail has been written. Constitution is having 22 parts. In that we have discussed part 3 is for the fundamental rights, part 4 is for the directive principles of state policy. In that way we have the 22 parts of the constitution. We have 395 articles in our constitution. Originally articles may change time to time, it is changed, but we have the 12 schedules also. In that, one schedule is particularly made for the Dalits, made for the untouchables. And these caste groups, which they are categorized in that schedule, where their description is been mentioned in that schedule, they are known as scheduled castes. The provisions which is made in this schedule is known as the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. A law called untouchability, which is an offense. This Act of 1955 has made the practice of untouchability as illegal and punishable law. This act later came to be known as the Protection of Civil Rights Act 1976. Means that many of the reforms has been done. Time to time, it is the requirement of the people, need of the people, and accordingly, these suggestive measures has been included. So this Civil Rights Act is been included for the Protection of Civil Rights Act 1976 gives the complete protection to the people who they falls under this scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and the other backward classes. According to this, means that the Protection of Civil Rights Act 1976, it is a cognizable offense to prevent anyone from entering the place of worship or fetching water from a pond or well. Means the people who they fall in this category. Civil rights means what? Related to our day-to-day life. As a citizen of the country, we have the civil rights. Means no one can deny us to enter in the public path, to enter in the public places. But long back in the history, this untouchable group, the Dalits, they were denied to get inside the temple premises. They were not supposed to fetch water from the wells or the ponds or the lakes, wherever the higher class people were supposed to go. So after this, the Protection of the Civil Rights Act of 1976, all these things were now abolished. No one can deny, no one can discriminate or to tell them not to fetch water, not to enter in the temple premises. It is also an offense to stop anyone from entering public place such as park, hotel, school, etc. In olden days, they were having the separate schools, separate restaurant, hotels. They were not allowed to go wherever the higher class people are going. So such things were now completely removed and made it a punishable offense. So there is no restriction on their employment in any trade or profession. Just now in the previous slide we discussed their occupation was also fixed. They were supposed to do the menial jobs, all the cleaning jobs, sweeping, cleaning of the drainage, then tanning work, leather workers. They were supposed to belong from this category only. But now all such things are been removed. If they want, they can get the employment in the any of the trade or business or any of the profession. A person committing such an offense would be either fined or imprisoned. If anyone, any individual or the government, if they try to commit this type of offense, then they have to be imprisoned or the fine may be imposed upon them. A provision was made that in case a person was convicted under Untouchability Offences Act, he would be disqualified from becoming a member of parliament and state legislature for 6 years. This is very interesting fact. And this is very important for that. If suppose any of the individual or person, if they try to practice it, and if they have been caught by practicing this untouchability or discriminating any of the people on the basis of their caste, then what will happen? Under the Untouchability Offences Act, she would be disqualified for the 6 years if they wanted to contest or to participate in the election process for the Lok Sabha or for the state legislative assemblies. Then he or she may be disqualified because of that they have practiced this untouchability and they have been caught under the Untouchability Offence Act. Even today, the attitude of the people had not changed. But this is very unfortunate for us that it is not have been completely changed. We protest against abuses and atrocities against Dalits are very common. Like, though we protest against social discrimination like apartheid practices. Apartheid means that the racial discrimination on the color of the skin, it has been practiced in African continent, which means that not been accepted and declared inhuman practice, but still somehow it is not been completely even removed from our society. This is, we ourselves practiced it in India. What is the racism, the apartheid is practiced in the any other part of the world. In our country, it was existing in a form of a untouchability. So this way it has been correlated with this. Then next it is about that manual scavenging. Very difficult in the society. The topic is actually included for the students not to study about that their conditions, but to develop awareness among themselves. Among the students, these topics has been included. So you must have to aware about all these, the things or the wrong things which is practiced in our society should be completely abolished. Government is doing their work. They are making the efforts. They are putting efforts. Schemes has been launched. Constitutional provisions are there. But then also what we are learning over here, still somewhere it is practiced in our society. So how to remove all these things completely from our society? These topics are included for the students to bring awareness among them. Coming to manual scavenging. Manual scavenger is a person who removes human waste or excreta using brooms, tin plates, and carry it on the head of their disposal grounds, which is some, actually where is the disposal ground? Not nearby, but at some distance it is been fixed by the government, or in every city, in every village, in every district, it is there. And what the scavenging, manual scavengers, they do? They carry this, the excreta or the human waste on their head, in their tins, in the tin plates, and carry it on their heads. Can you imagine about that? How difficult it is for them to do so. Then this is about that. And what are these? Even though the dry latrines are also there. This low paid job, actually this is a very low paid job, is mainly done by Dalit women. But unfortunately, the system still prevails in many parts of the country. Just now we have discussed about that, the constitutional reforms. but in practice it is still there in some parts of our country. The government of India has made all efforts to safeguard the dignity of all sections of society. For all the sections, it is not only for this, the manual scavengers, but for all sections of the society. The employment of manual scavenger and construction of dry latrines, Prohibition Act 1993, was an important step in this direction. This is the another law made in the year 1993. Protection of the Civil Rights Act 1976, to protect this the untouchables. Then next it is again that the reform has been done for the manual scavengers in 1993, and the important steps has been taken by the government in this direction. Then what happened? This law prohibits the employment of manual scavengers as well as the construction of dry latrines. Safai Karmcharis. Safai Karmcharis means that the cleaning work. What is this Safai Karmcharis? These Safai Karmcharis, they have filed a PIL. These Safai Karmcharis, they filed a PIL, public interest litigation. What is this? These Safai Karmcharis, what they did? They filed a case in 2003 as a PIL to get the manual scavenging banned from railways also. Because in the railways it was still practiced. So it has been, they have organized, they have sent a PIL, public interest litigation. They have sent their petition to the court for the removal to stop the practice of the this type of the manual scavenging ban on the railways also, as it violated their fundamental rights. What they are quoting in this PIL, because this is the type of violation of fundamental rights against exploitation and discrimination. So with this, by this quoting, this low paid job, the employment of manual scavengers and construction of dry latrines Provision Act was passed in 1993, was a very important step in this direction. Then in 2003, Safai Karmcharis, they have filed a case. What they have filed a case? And they have sent a PIL. And in this PIL, what they have demanded? They have demanded that the manual scavenging to be removed or banned even from the railways also, because this also violates the fundamental rights of the manual scavengers. So these are the schemes and the efforts made by the government and the protest by the people from this category, from this group. Next, coming to about Mandal Commission. What was actually the Mandal Commission? This is the Mandal Commission was set up by the government in 1979. In which year? It is 1979, for solving the caste discrimination. The commission recommended that the government reserves an additional 27% of government jobs and the seats in institutions for higher studies for OBCs. Earlier also it was like that. Earlier what was that? The SCs, they were given the 15% seats, reserve seats, everywhere in government jobs as well as in the government institutions and for the higher studies. For STs, it was 7.5%. But In this 1979, the proposal was there for the 27% of the government jobs and the seats in institutions were reserved for the other backward classes. Finally, this way, the total reserved seats are now 49.5%. Out of 100, now 49.5% seats are reserved for the SCs, STs, and OBCs. So then the rest 49.5 is left for the higher category people. In 1989, what happened? The government had decided to implement the recommendations, because this was the recommendation made by the Mandal. BP Mandal was the name of that minister who has been assigned this duty to collect the configuration about the percentage of population who falls under the other backward classes. And this recommendation was given entire detailed description to the government, but it was not implemented in 1979. After the 10 years, in 1989, the government decided to implement the recommendations of the Mandal Commission under the guidance of the Prime Minister VP Singh. VP Singh was the Prime Minister at the time when this recommendation was implemented, and the year was 1989. However, this decision brought a countrywide protest by the unreserved category. The people who they fall in the higher category, now they have started protest movement against this decision of the government. This is after a good deal of controversy. After a good deal of controversy, the question of the backward classes was referred to the Supreme Court, and which gave its verdict. So what the Supreme Court has given its verdict? There are many points given by the Supreme Court in the reference of the implementation of the Mandal Commission. So first of all, it comes about that the court accepted the policy of reservation for OBCs, but it excluded the creamy layer of the OBCs. Creamy layer means that who they are economically sound. They have been excluded from this reservation categories. Second, that the verdict came in the year 1993 from the Supreme Court. The armed forces and sensitive higher civilian posts. What is this? Comes under the armed forces. Reservation should not be followed. Sensitive higher civilian posts like scientists, university professors, pilots, etc. They, in these profession, in these occupations, no reservation is been followed. These are excluded from the reservation policies. That should be kept outside the purview of the caste reservation. This reservation policy will not be implemented in such type of the jobs. Even Mandal Commission was in favor of the reservation policy in the field of promotions, such as the field of the promotion, but the Supreme Court recommended reservation only in original appointments. Even though the Mandal Commission, they have also demanded reservation policy in the promotions also. Everywhere, in all the jobs, in all the occupations, there is the promotion policy. So the Mandal Commission was asked for that facility also. But here, Supreme Court recommended reservation only in original appointments. This is denied by the Supreme Court, and it has declared that only once at the time of the appointment only this category can avail the facility of reservation, not in the promotion facility. The Supreme Court directed that the quota should not go beyond 50%. This upper limit has also been imposed by the Supreme Court. More than 50%, this data cannot be, that the seats cannot be reserved for the SCs, STs and the OBCs.